Hello today. Welcome to the Proving Grounds. Today we're talking about the Capcom Belt Action Collection, also known in the Western Hemisphere as the Capcom Beat 'em Up Bundle. Now, to get the first thing out of the way, this is not available physically in America or the Western Hemisphere at all. You'll have to go to the Eastern Territories, mainly for a Japanese version, but there is an Asian version. Now, I don't have the Asian version, I have the Japanese version, and that's the version you will be seeing, and it has English in it, so I don't really know what the Asian version has over in that regard. It might have some other languages, possibly, but I'm not aware. But if that don't matter to you, you can get digitally. But anyway, the Capcom Belt Action Collection, or Beat 'em Up Collection, is a collection of arcade versions of Capcom games. Some of these have never had a home console release, while others have had console ports, but obviously, for the time period these games came out, those ports would vary. So what you get in this collection is Final Fight, which has had multiple console versions, and I believe some later collections on the Wii, I actually think, had a arcade version of Final Fight, I think. The King of Dragons, which had a Super Nintendo version, I think that also made it to a collection that was on the Wii, I believe. Captain Commando, as far as I know, that never made it to any collection. There was I believe, a Super Nintendo port of it. Knights of the Round had a Super Nintendo port of it. I think that was also available for a collection that was on the Wii. Warriors of Fate. Now, as far as I know, this has no console port at all. It's actually, I've never played it at all until this collection, and I'm actually surprised how much of a fail beat 'em up it is. It's a lot more forgiving and giving you some healing items, like in normal beat 'em up, like Streets of Rage or something, versus the arcade trying to eat your quarters up more. Armored Warriors, as far as I'm aware of, has no console port or anything like that. It was also a very interesting game. And then Battle Circuit, which I also think had no console port, I believe, off the top of my head. So, first thing, depending on whether you care about, like I said, a few of these I believe were already on some other older collections, but you're all getting some interesting things. Definitely what I think is very good in this is Warriors of Fate and Armored Warriors. Those were very interesting. But out of games, I've already played Knights of the Round on Super Nintendo before, and I actually beat that version. I played in my childhood the King of Dragons. It's pretty good. The arcade version, of course, being much better. Now, of course, being beat 'em up style games, these all have co-op, and there is online co-op. And if it's certain ones are 3, certain ones are 2, so depending on that, you have that to contend with. But what's interesting is you can also change which version of the arcade cabinet you're playing. Now, like I said, I'm playing, what you're seeing is the Japanese physical PS4 version. This is available on Switch, physically in Japan as well, but there is no physical form of this game on Xbox One. But you can play the Japanese or the English cabinets. Now, I don't think Warriors of Fate really had much of an English presence. I've never seen it before myself. But it obviously did come because it does have a localization, a very bad one. Ooh, excuse me. I got a bit of a cold right now. Whew. Which is a bit of a shame, but can't do much about it. But you can do that to see some of the differences. Because I think Final Fight's arcade version had very slight differences. I think the bigger differences cropped up in the console versions, I believe. I think there was just a very minor difference, I think, in the opening between the arcade versions. But honestly, if you love beat-em-ups, I mean, this is going to be a bit of a short review than the usual kind of spiel I do. But if you're into beat-em-ups, this is definitely a lovely collection. Some of them are 3-player, some of them 2-player. You can play online. As far as I understand, you can play with other people's versions online. So you should be able to play with English people with the beat-em-up collection. As far as I can tell, though, to be fair, I'm not 100% sure. See, like, King of Dragons is a fun game with 3 players, man. But as a collection of 7 games, not too shabby, I'd say. I mean, if you want the physical version, as I always like to recommend myself, I mean, PlayAsia is currently selling the Switch version for $32.99 and the PS4 version for $27.99, which are fantastic prices for a bunch of good arcade games. However, if you want to go a little cheaper, or you just don't want to deal with the hassle of importing or finding someone in your region with a physical version, it is only $19.99 digitally. So I mean, it's a really good price either way you go, to be honest. And these were delightful throwbacks, because I've played several console versions of Final Night. I played the Super Nintendo version of the King of Dragons. I beaten and played and owned the Knights of the Round. I got that a long time ago. But some of these, like I said, I've never heard of Warriors of Fate, Armored Warriors, which is a really good, interesting game where you can I'll talk a little about quickly now, to give them each a little limelight. But Firefight, you know, if you anything to do with beat 'em up type games, you should know what the hell Firefight is. It's like the blueprint of most beat 'em up games for a long time. King of Dragons is a medieval mix of like a little RPG mechanics in that. It's a 3-player arcade game. You have all the stereotypical classes you would imagine, like a cleric, wizard, archer. It offers some interesting play of strategic value when you're playing multiplayer, for sure. Captain Commando is weird. Its characters are very strange. Like, it has a fucking baby lying in a mech. I don't know what to say to that. Knights of the Round is also a very interesting 3-player arcade game where you follow King Arthur on his journey to become king and free the land. It has a leveling system with the points where the characters become more powerful in that. Very interesting little fun game. Warriors of Fate. Now, like I said, the English version of this game has a very bad localization. It's basically the Dynasty Warriors, you know, with like Lupe and Cao and stuff. Like, almost no one's name makes it into the English version. I don't think anyone's name made it into the English version, really. But that's what Warriors of Fate is supposed to be about. But the Western version being back in the dark ages of not wanting to care about culture or vanilla culture, kinda just went with a bunch of random crap. I don't even remember what they named Cao again. It was something stupid, but it was a really fun game. I was kind of surprising it's a 3-player co-op game. I was really surprised at how forgiving it was to give healing items, which was usually not something a lot of these games did, because, you know, they want your precious quarters. Now, Armored Warriors, that's a 3-player co-op game. It features this really interesting mechanic where you steal parts of mechs from other fighters. You can change your legs, your arms, and get all kinds of different guns, punching, and and even movement. Change the very way your character moves. It's very interesting. It offers a lot of interesting strategic customization of the different starter mechs you get. And I would definitely recommend playing multiplayer in that. You could get a lot of interesting fun in that one. And then Battle Circuit. This one was also very weird. It is a 4-player. It's the only one that's 4-player. But it is a 4-player co-op cabinet. And it is also very bizarre. It's like traveling through like space after some shit. It's weird. Very weird. Don't like. I mean, I'm not saying don't play it. And it also featured. Now, there's a few games that have had this. I've never personally played an arcade cabinet with it before. One of the first cabinets I ever heard of it in was Double Dragon 3's arcade version. Well, it has a cash shop where you actually buy power-ups with money and shit. And this also has a similar system where after a stage it has a cash shop system where you, like, in-game currency where you power up the character and shit. It's very odd in an arcade game, in my opinion. Like, because, you know, if you change a character, you lose all the power-ups. It's odd. But outside of the arcade games, which as far as I can tell, I've never got to play the arcade original of any of these cabinets besides Knights of the Round. When I visited Matt in Utah, they actually had a cabinet of it. They did have King of Dragons also, but it was out of order, so sadly I did not get to try that one. So I'm not very familiar with how the arcade experience in the actual arcade cabinet is, but these all played very wonderfully. That's so, as far as I'm concerned, I think they did a very lovely job. As for extras, you do get access to a gallery that you can see a bunch of new artwork they made for this collection itself, with all the different characters with each other, and then individual original artwork that will for all these cabinets. Concept art and things like that. You can find the arcade cabinet sketches for each of these, and if you're playing on PS4, you're going to be disappointed if you're a trophy hunter. There are not a lot of trophies. There's a small list, no platinum. It is a very easy list of trophies, however. Mainly a bunch of silvers. But if you're a trophy hunter, you would not find... that's what I found kind of disappointing. I was kind of like, oh, there should be all kinds of really interesting trophies to go for, but there aren't. They're very boring and basic. Basically, beat the game and use it continue and play all the games online. It's very, very stale trophy list, in my opinion. And no platinum, like I said. So, trophy hunters, meh. Overall, though, I definitely recommend this for anyone who loves beat-em-ups, especially Capcom beat-em-ups, because, well, it's a bunch of Capcom beat-em-ups. I definitely recommend getting a physical version, however, but that is obviously your discretion. I think they're wonderful prices all around. I definitely think $30 is a max value of this, honestly. I love a lot of these arcade games. And I would easily have paid that myself. However, you can obviously get cheaper. Like I said, $19.99 for digitally, and between like $20 to $27 currently for a physical version. So, and of course, if you can get a Switch version, hell, you're just going to get a lot of portability out of there too. So, it's good old fun, yeah. But besides that, there ain't any other real extras. No like funky additional things. The only other thing I can throw out there is you can customize the games a little bit. Like, not any like funky modes, but you can it lets you adjust the difficulty, which I'm not really sure how they went about doing that. When you get a bonus life, how many lives and continues you could start with. Now all these are set on free mode, so you know you're not limited on your continues or anything. That, I would just imagine, is for people who want to set a handicap for themselves. But you don't have to worry about if you die and, oh, I have so few continues or something. You can go on forever dying over and over if you want to. That's under your own will. Default to handicap yourself. But I think this is a lovely collection. I definitely can recommend it for anyone who loves beat 'em ups. If you don't, ooh, excuse me. If you don't already own all these in some form, because there are some people who, crazily enough, have arcade cabinets in their ownership, or arcade boards. Much smaller crowd of collectors there, but they are out there. I mean, I could see, like I said, some of these had console versions and a few other ports, but definitely I really have to recommend Warriors of Fate and Armored Warriors as something to check out in this collection myself. I mean, Final Fight's has so many console versions and all kinds of crap. I think most people consider the Sega CD version to be the best console version of the non-arcade. I think. But either way, lovely collection. Definitely recommend it. If you have any questions or anything at all, please feel free to leave a comment down below, and I will get to you. Hopefully you learned something interesting in this video. If you did, please feel free to leave a like. And if you feel like you learned absolutely nothing about this kicking trash down, finding food to eat on the streets, beat 'em up collection review, feel free to leave a dislike. Completely guilt-free. Until next time, thank you for joining me at the Proving Grounds. Have a delightful day.
どうだった？私の作ったあっさ